This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. This is for anyone who has a dog, maybe an animal, maybe having some behavioral issues with them, or maybe you're somebody that has a service animal or know somebody who may and needs to have that animal, that dog trained for somebody that has a disability, just a part of what she offers as an animal behaviorist. And she is the person behind a place known as the Animal Psychology Center. I'm fascinated to dig into this today because we're going to look at the psychology of animals. So many times, do podcasts here with psychologists for people. Now we're going to flip it over to animals, which is super cool. Katherine Andrews joins us today on the program. How are you doing?
Hey, hi there. Super excited.
Same. It's great to have you here. And would you say you are the equivalent of let's say a psychologist, a therapist for a human? You're kind of that for dogs and animals?
Absolutely. That was a really good description. That's exactly what I do. And I like to call myself a communicator.
Okay, so that was actually one of the things that was floating around in my head. I've spoken to animal communicators before, and they've actually given us tips on how to communicate with animals and how to kind of get in their head. Would you say that you're an animal communicator as well?
Absolutely. Right. Just turning up the volume for communication, whether you have a service dog or you have a dog that's having issues. It's the client or the owner is always 50% of the puzzle. And so, yeah, I don't get paid for that part, but I do open up communication with people too. And many times, once you work with the problem in the family, communication gets better with everyone, so.
I like the way you position that. You said that the human is 50% of the puzzle. You didn't say the problem.
Yeah, no, I mean, we all have issues and problems, right? So it's just part of life. And really, once you open up the communication, that ceases to be a problem because most people are good intentioned, and almost all animals are good intentioned. They're just kind of a pure spirit soul than we are, honestly,
Would you say that it in everything, communication is everything, no matter what, even when it comes to animals?
Boy, it is. Yeah, it is. And my background is in communication with people and animals, and I've probably taken every course, self-help thing that you can think of. And then, I've had this gift naturally because I'm a extreme right brainer, and I just knew how to communicate with animals from the time I was little. I always seemed to gravitate towards them and understood them really better than people.
Take us on that journey. I'm fascinated how you got to this point. How did it start as a young child, your connection with animals?
My mom said from the time I could walk, I wanted to ride that little bouncy horse thing that
Totally got it. Yeah, with the
little
springs,
things
with the
on
springs around
springs.
it.
Yeah. You and I are old enough. I grew up when dinosaurs roamed the earth, so yeah, we had those things. Nowadays they're
Today's
all
my birthday, and I'm older than dirt. So,
oh hey, happy birthday, my friend.
thanks.
So yeah, I was totally interested in animals, and I sought out everything from bugs to birds to worms to neighbors' dogs, because my parents didn't have a dog when I was growing up. And of course, being an animal person, I had to get it. It was actually really kind of, I just thought of this. It was because I didn't have my own dog. I had to go out in the world and find animals to work on. And so I did. I would go knock on neighbors' doors. This started when I was 9 years old, and ask them if I could fix their dog. And they'd look at me and go, how old are you? And I'd be 9, and they said, well, I mean, some people just actually let me. And I found that I was good at it. I could put them in communication with that dog. And maybe save the dog from having another home, or
Hmm.
being tied up outside to a tree, because I would watch these dogs and think, what can I do to make their life better? Well, being in a house would be better. So maybe if I go talk to the people who own the dog, if I got the dog to behave, it could be a part of the family. So that was my motivation.
It's amazing once you start really intentionally thinking about an animal connection. Because like in the last few months, I started looking at all the animals that I've had, and I had a light bulb go off and thinking that I've had very sweet, loving, connected animals. And then I'm thinking, maybe it's me that I'm picking them out intentionally, energetically, like
Yeah.
I'm feeling it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you have good energy. I mean, you and I just met today actually, but I could just feel it coming through. And you're going to attract that. You probably attract that in your life too with people. You attract
Not
good
enough, not
intention.
enough. Animals are
Yeah,
easy.
I know they are. I always say animals are honest. I mean, if they're going to bite you, they let you know. If they're afraid of you, they'll let you know. They don't lie. So they're really easier than people. I find them to be
Mm.
way easier than people.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna, while we're talking about animals and my, realization of this, um, I went on a little, call it a retreat for myself, like 2 months ago. I never go alone. I just went to another country, Caribbean, and I stayed there for a week. And it was just like reading, reflecting, relaxing. And in the field where I was staying, next to where I was staying, there was a horse tied up. Not great conditions. He was there all day. Nobody cared about him. And so I would go over there. I would feed him. I would give him water. Um, don't think I'm crazy here, but I actually thought I started bonding with him. I would look in his eye and I'm like, I know what you're thinking. I got you. I went back there another day and his rope was in this rebarb and cement. He couldn't even move his head. He got all tied up. He was
Oh
like a
man.
he was an animal used for tours and they didn't need this one extra horse. So he was there every day. So I go over there, I get fire ants eating my through my sandals. I'm like, I untied him and everything. I'm going back there again. I'm planning on it in the next month or so. And I hope he's in a good place, but I hope I see him again. I even gave him a name. I feel so connected. Like it was almost like, what's that movie with Wilson, the ball? Castaway.
Oh, yes, yes,
You
yes, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
It's almost as if that was the same kind of connection. Um, Horses,
absolutely.
I'm learning that they are so intelligent and pick up on energy so well. Is that something that you've learned?
Oh gosh. Yeah, horses are a whole nother entity than dogs because they're a prey animal and dogs are predators. So a lot of times if people communicate with dogs, they don't do well with horses, but are a you're like one of my people because for you to notice that horse and go over there and spend your time, that's what I just described to you that I was doing when I was 9 years old. I would find these dogs that were not part of the family, that were tied up, that were not having the best life. So, yeah, I hope you go back there. Now I'm worried about the horse and I want to, I want him to have a better life. And
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you so much for doing that. The world needs more people like you. And if everybody would just notice and give these animals some love, they're happy to fit in the family. They're happy to do whatever. They don't need to be out there tied up.
They can read us. They know if they're picking up on us. We're
Yes.
not, they've got
Yes.
messages for us about our planet that we're not even listening. And if we just listen,
Absolutely.
you might hear it from them. Where do you think that most humans go wrong when it comes to caring for our animals? I don't know, training them, whatever it might be. I'm not talking about service animals so much here, but just in terms of behavior. You said 50% of the challenges is humans. What are we doing wrong on a regular basis?
They don't listen. There's plenty of information out there, but many times they get a dog that's inappropriate for them or their family. And that's why I always tell my clients, if you are going to get a dog, let me help you. Because I
Mm,
can help you make that connection and get, not everybody's like you and me, where they have the energy, they put it out, and that animal will come to them. A lot of people think, they think, oh my gosh, I want this big pit bull power dog, or I want a really cute little shih tzu or something, but they don't investigate and see what the needs are for that dog. What kind of genetic programs does that dog have? Because every breed has genetic programs. And unlike people, we kind of breed more randomly, but animals are bred very specifically.
Wow.
And you need to look at what is in that. Is this dog a hunting dog? Because if it comes from a hunting background, it's not going to make a good service dog, because that dog's going to go outside with you and it's going to be looking for, birds and rabbits and things, and it's not going to focus on his job. So really the breeding that animals have, which is not a component of people. So again, it's just because of what people have done with animals. It's a whole different ball game when you're choosing, because of all those genetic programs that are running. That makes
Catherine,
sense.
yeah, 100%. What about somebody who's thinking of getting an animal, either buying or adopting? I suggest adopting, from a shelter, but
Yeah. Do a lot of that when I'm helping people find
that's my question.
a service dog, or even just a pet dog. We
So you know what
try
you're
to adopt first. We try to
right,
adopt first. Yeah.
because we don't know the backstory on this animal, and you may be bringing an animal into your home, and maybe they were abused, and you have no idea. They came from a shelter, and is that something that you could help identify?
Absolutely. I do that all the time. I have a family right now that got a giant pit bull from an organization, and the dog had not been socialized. And a lot of times humane societies, they're overworked, underpaid. They've got all these animals and they don't have time to socialize them. So thank God they called me and said, this dog wants to eat our cat. He's peeing on everything. He's can't walk on a leash. I mean, this guy weighs like 95 pounds and he's all muscle. So they brought him to me. We had one visit and he was a completely different guy, because what did I do? Put him in communication and let him know, hey, buddy, you're not the pack leader. We're the pack leaders. This is what you need to do to fit in. And he was super happy to do that. He just didn't know. No one ever told him not to pee on everything. No one ever told him not to pull your arm out of the socket at the end of the leash.
Huh. Well, it's almost as if he didn't know his role in the family.
I absolutely had no idea. And that's why I was at the shelter. He got big enough and the family was like, we can't handle him. And they just dropped him off. And he was there for 2 years before these people adopted him. Poor guy. Can you imagine how crazy you would be if you were in a kennel for 2 years, because they didn't socialize him. They just fed him, gave him some attention, and he was pretty much in a kennel. And then he had an outdoor run. And so we opened up a whole new world for him. We put on a training collar that I used for communication. We let him know, okay, this is what you need to do to fit in. This is what you need to do because this is your new family. And he was like, whoa, no one ever said anything about any of this. And by the end of the visit, their little 8-year-old could walk him on a leash. And it was a whole new world, and I've been communicating with them every day. This was a couple of weeks ago, and he's doing so much better. And, our next step now is to start to introduce him to my dogs and to my cats, because he thinks the cat is something that he should go after and kill. He just doesn't know. And we'll do that, and over the next 4 to 6 months, he's going to be a service dog, Steve.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I said, this guy wants a job, I mean, he's genetically programmed to do a job. And when you give him a job, not fighting and killing other dogs, because that's what he's programmed to do, but you give him a job within the family, he's going to be super happy, and it's going to be a whole new world for him. And once he learns how to get along with other dogs, and he realizes that cats are not, prey, again, a whole new world. And
I see this in a whole new light. I mean, just imagine.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it?
You picked up and you were dropped in a family that is in another country. They don't speak your language. You don't even know what you're supposed to be doing. You just got dropped
no
in
idea.
their living room.
Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah.
You woke up and you're like looking around.
what a testament to what a good guy he is that he wasn't, how crazy would I would be nuts if I were in a kennel and no one paid, just fed me. I mean, he was so willing and so happy, like, oh my God, no one's ever given me any information. And like I
Hmm.
said, by the end of the visit, he was exhausted because we're putting all this new information in his brain. And the family was tired too, because, I'm also programming them. And, therapy is hard. I mean, you've been to therapy before, but you're only there for an hour. They were here for a couple hours and you're exhausted, because it's more exhausting than physical work, reprogramming the brain. And that's what we were doing.
Wow. We've done lots of podcasts on neuroscience and all of that, reprogramming the human brain, but essentially, you're sounds like you're doing the same thing with an animal or a dog, right?
Absolutely. And I'm reprogramming the human brain too, because
Sure.
they don't know how to make eye contact with him, how to uh, body language, what to do. That's what we do when I work with clients. Like I said, I work through Zoom and um, if you're out of state, or if you're here. But body language is super important. Dogs don't use words. And so it's more important what you do with your eye contact, your intention, super important. Dogs know for sure. And that's why you, Steve, when you went to that horse knew you had good intentions towards him. And you made such a difference in his life. Again, thank you so much for doing
Yeah.
that.
It's honestly made me cry. Like I was just
Oh,
like,
you almost
oh,
made me cry telling me the
I mean, this
story. I
poor
want I want to
horse.
go
Like,
over there and rescue him now.
and you know what? Part of me, I'll admit it, just wants to cut that rope and let him go. But then again, where's that horse going to go? Because it only knows, like we're talking here, a certain
Yeah.
life. It could be just running wild everywhere, get hit by a car, whatever it might be. It doesn't know any better. But I wish the life it has is better, but that's out of my control. I can only do so much.
Yeah.
It's if that was in the
Well,
United States, it'd be different.
maybe you and I, if you're going to go back, maybe you and I can have a conversation about what to say to these people to try to open up that door.
I'd love that. I'd love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I even named them. It's Charlie. That's the horse. I don't even know why.
Charlie.
It just
Oh,
dropped in my head, and
all right.
that's the name.
Charlie, you're on our radar, baby.
You're on
We're
our
thinking
radar.
about you.
Yeah.
We're gonna,
It's
yeah.
amazing when you, like you just said, how to look. I didn't go near that horse until I looked in its eyes and I started feeling a connection. I'm not going over, I'm going to keep my distance until we connect. And it sounds like the same thing, even with this dog that you were mentioning. Like, how do you look at it? How do you approach it? Even your thoughts, animals can pick up on. I'm convinced they can
Yeah.
hear
I
it.
mean, they read your thoughts. Absolutely. That's why when I work with the dog, I don't even have to say sit or I don't use words. I let them read my thoughts because that's more powerful because I'm speaking their language. So honestly, when I go to a humane society and I work with dogs, I don't talk to them.
I believe it.
Yeah, I don't, I don't, I don't talk to them.
I totally believe it. Okay, quick story based on an animal communicator that just threw me the idea of how to do this. But last year, I have two cats, and they started peeing outside of the litter box. I'm like, what's going on there? And I, not what I want to be happening in my home. I put the litter box, and it's a big one because I have two cats, in a plastic bag just to line it, and then it's easier to change, whatever. So I just send a signal out and just said, Daddy's not happy. I need to know what the issue is. I don't know which one of you are doing it, but why is somebody peeing outside the litter box? And I know it sounds woo, people, telepathically threw that out there. I was sending that message to them. I'm not kidding. About a half hour later, it was like a sledgehammer hit me over the head with the answer. It was you, meaning me, from the cats. You change the bags that you use. We don't like this bag. And that's what
See?
it was. So I just went back
Yeah.
to the other bags. Problem has been solved. Never happen again. It was the craziest thing, like a sledgehammer. Bing, there's the answer. That just didn't come out of
Steve,
my
you
head.
you don't need me, that's for sure, because you already got this down. You already naturally know
I don't know what
what
I'm
the
doing. I pick up little
yeah,
pieces
no,
of
you
info from
do. You
you.
do. you have good instincts
I
and
learned
good
that from
intention
somebody
and
like you, though. It wasn't even instinctual. It was just, just trust the process, if you will.
yeah,
And I got the answer,
yeah.
but
And they let you know
they
because they
let me
don't want to
know.
be they don't want to be naughty. I mean, they want to do the right thing, but they let you know that that was uncomfortable for them, either the smell or there was a chemical in it or something that was not right. And so there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want
Yeah.
to share that the power of the thought and how they're listening. Same thing when somebody says, I come home and my dog just knew I was upset and they came over to me. Yeah, they knew because they read your mind essentially. They read your mind, right?
Absolutely. I
Mm,
always say they have a higher wisdom than us because they can read thoughts and they know what's in your heart. And so
mm.
really that's wiser than us predominantly left brain. Humans are predominantly left brain, but so yeah, they have a higher wisdom. I always say, here's something I always tell clients, dogs would have never followed Hitler because Hitler had not good intentions. He was angry. You know, the words that came out of his mouth were angry and mean. Dogs wouldn't follow that. Dogs follow good intentions, stable leadership, kindness, and what's more wise than that? See, dogs would have never followed Hitler, but people, hell yeah, people be following Hitler. So I like to say that animals,
Mm.
they possess a higher wisdom. They just do,
Wow. And you know
because
what?
they're heart based.
Yeah, but well, and they're not so much fear-based. I have to look at it
Mhm.
in terms of
Yeah,
people
that's a good
following
point. That's a good point. Yeah,
somebody like Hitler. It was based out of fear why somebody might follow that individual. Um, but animals, it's not. It's like, yeah, I don't. You're not for me. I'm going over here, and they just stay away.
right,
Um, I want to next time we get
right.
together even talk about the service animal aspect of you. You can take an animal and depending on its breed and a lot of other factors, work to be make it become a service animal.
Right. I always say the number one thing that we're looking for when we select a service dog for you is that connection. When you go to a humane society or you go to a breeder, is you're looking for that connection. Just like with people, I mean, sometimes you try and fix somebody up and you like both people, but you put them together and there's not chemistry. So chemistry is like the most important thing when you are partnering with a dog for service or even a dog for your family. And that's what I try to coach people to do, whether I go with them or they go by themselves, is go with your heart, not, don't think it so much, but go with your heart and let that animal make that connection to you.
I love the fact that you're available as a resource. Like a lot of times we have questions, we don't know where to go. How do we train? How do we, well, not necessarily train, but modify the behavior of an animal? And it's no surprise that you have so many great reviews and A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and so much more. How do we find you? How do we even
Thank
start a
you.
conversation? How do we connect?
Animalpsychologycenter.com is my website. You can reach me through email, give me a call. I do some free consultations, and if we work together, even if you're out of state, we do Zoom. And if you're here, people will make a trip to come out here to my center. I have a beautiful center, 3.5 acres, and we work here. So
You're
yeah,
South Dakota. Do I have that right?
I'm in South Dakota, right outside of Rapid City. Yeah.
Gotcha.
A lot of people, Steve, will come here and they'll go visit Mount Rushmore Crazy Horse, make a vacation of it, and come with their dog. And we do a little vacay, animal communicating kind of thing. I've had a lot of people that do that. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. It's almost like going on a retreat, like with your animal.
It is. It is.
Wow.
It really is. Yeah.
So great talking with you. You have so many success stories and run deep. And thanks for sharing everything today. Lots more to talk about next time we get together, and looking forward to it. Oh, by the
Yeah, me
way,
too.
What's your website? They didn't get your website.
Animalpsychologycenter.com.
Well, that was easy enough. All right.
Animal
Katherine,
Psychology Center.
thank you for everything today. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It was so wonderful meeting you. You're one of my people, Steve.
Likewise,
Very
you
well.
know, we love animals. We want to connect, and we're here to help others. So, oh, by the way, instant feedback, Steve@gmail.com. If you have a question, something going on, and you want Katherine to maybe field that question, send it our way, and we'll talk about it potentially next time we get together. Thank you again.
Yeah.
Appreciate
You
it.
take care.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.